Oopsie. Secret underground bases and secret underground cities. Why have they built them? And there are underground bases all over the world, and there is talk of underground cities. But why would you build something like that? Is it to protect in the event of like a catastrophic event or a nuclear war or Armageddon, something that's been prophesied to come? So that's what I want to look at, you all. That's what I want to look at, the secret underground bases and cities. And up here at the top is the Dulce underground base, and below that is a great big underground place for the Chinese aircraft. But I want to take you all over here to, hello there, Susan B. Honey. You're the only one on here, Susan B. Honey. That's okay. Yes, it is. That's excellent, Susan Honey. So you all, let's come over here. So I was looking at underground. Let me see what my search query was. This was my search thing. 1990 UFO ship lands in Middle East. That was my search. So then I found this. Underground UFO alien bases and tunnels. You can see this is unexplainable.net. And you see we got the big Air Force, the boring machine. That is right here. You all, let me put this back to me. If you're just tuning in, hello and welcome. Let me come over here. So I'd like to see comments also. I would. So, yeah. Hello there, Nairuka. Okay, we got 3 people in this chat. Can I get a woohoo? Can we get a woohoo? Now we got 4 people. 4 people in the chat. No, now it's 4. Hello there, Finesse. You all, we got 4 people in the chat. That's wonderful. Okay, let's come over here, you all, because really, it's just underground UFO bases and tunnels, alien bases and tunnels. And you got this story right here. Does a strange world exist beneath our feet? And strange legends have persisted for centuries about the mysterious cavern world and the equally strange beings who inhabit it. And what kind of beings are they talking about? I think they're talking about beings other than Earth beings. Okay, I really do. And ufologists have considered the possibility that UFOs may be emanating from subterranean bases. Well, I think that is a big yes, they are. Yes, they are. The UFO aliens have constructed these bases to carry out various missions involving Earth or humans. So that's really interesting, you all. It really is. Let's come over here, and we're talking about underground bases and stuff. They're talking about Socrates. Look, let's listen about this. Socrates. Belief in subterranean world has been handed down as a myth, a tale, or rumor down through the generations from all over the world. Some of these stories date back to ancient times and tell of a fantastic flora and fauna that can be found in the caverns of ancient races. Socrates spoke of huge hollows within the earth, which are inhabited by man, and vast caverns which rivers flow. Now, this sounds like it's going to be pretty interesting, you all. We're going to touch on a little bit of stuff. I'll try not to jump all over the place and get caught up in whatever it is, but I can't promise it, you all. Thank you for joining in. Yeah, a legendary cavern supposedly exists below Cocoa Reef Peak in southwestern California. Earl Dorr, a miner and a prospector, followed clues given to him by Indians. He entered the Crystal Cave in the 30s and followed a passage down into Cocoa Reef Mountain until he attained a depth of about a mile. There he entered a large cavern which he proceeded to explore for a distance of 8 miles. At the bottom of the cavern, a river flowed, rising and falling with the lunar tides, and depositing black sands rich in placer gold along its banks. One day, crazed by fever, he used dynamite to seal shut the entrance to his fabulous cavern, and started a legend that still lures men to seek the fabled wealth of cocoa leaf, you all. So we've got something like that. We've got talk of a subterranean world prevalent with more than with the Indians of North America. The Hopis believe that they emerged from a world below the earth through a tunnel at the base of San Francisco Peaks near Flagstaff, Arizona. Wow, that's interesting. The legend also talks about mysterious Mount Shasta in Northern California. The mountain is said to have housed a race of surviving Lemurians who built a sanctuary in the depths of the earth to escape the catastrophes which befell them. These Lemurians allied themselves with space travelers who built a saucer base inside the mountain. Now, Mount Shasta, I think we might have, no, we talked about Mount Rainier, but Mount Shasta in the mountains, if I can see, Mount Shasta. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining. Yeah, Mount Shasta. Now, look at this, you all. Come on now. This actually does look like great big ships on that mountain, okay? So I think there is some truth to this. I really think there is. Yeah, it's really remarkable looking. It really is. Look at some of the different shapes, and it's not just clouds. Some may want to dismiss all of this as just clouds, but we know better, you all. We know better. It's much more than clouds, okay? This is a world much different than the world that we live in. You know, we don't fly around in those type of dimensional craft, and I think that they are higher rim craft. Look how they can bend and stuff and cloak themselves. So we're talking about Mount Shasta. Look at that, you all. That is so remarkable. A different race of beings. Okay, look at that one. Wow. So, okay, we got Mount Shasta. You all, I'm sorry, I'm going to jump back over here. Yes, we are. Hello there, Apple Brooks, honey. So, whether the ancient cities exist in caverns below the earth is anyone's guess. I think they do. But it's a fact that the governments have built underground tunnels and facilities for a variety of reasons. The reasons that the Russians, the Chinese, and the Vietnamese all built subterranean tunnels and bases, it should not come as a surprise that America has also been building its own underground world. Now, granted, you all, this is an article from 2005 on December the 7th. Oh, December the 7th. Isn't that Pearl Harbor Day, or is that December the 6th? So America also built their stuff too underground. Let's come back over here. So we've got the Hopi Indians, we got the Mount Shasta, but this is an elusive report, you all. In August the 7th of 1989 edition of the U.S. News and World Report reveals the secret plan to carry on the government in case of a disaster. And the plan is called a continuity of government, a COG. Okay, the article stated that the COG is the government's ultimate insurance policy should Armageddon ever arrive, providing the program runs smoothly. In 1982, a new secret agency, the Defense Mobilization Planning System Agency, was created and reports to the president. In the event of a nuclear attack, special teams equipped with war plans, military codes, and other essential data would accompany each designated presidential successor to secret command posts around the country. Besides the president, another 46 key officials named in the Joint Emergency Evacuation Plan, JEEP, would be evacuated. There are 50 of these underground command posts, bunkers, located in 10 different regions of the countries, and each is linked with the other via satellite or ground wave relays. Now, I remember reading about the 10 different regions of government. I saw maps about it years and years ago. The 10 regions of government. Let me just type it in so you all can just get a pretty good idea of governments. If some Armageddon came. Okay, so we can look at this, you all. We will. We're going to look at this. So this is the 10 regions of government. Gina, honey, can you do it? Yeah, I can do it. So this is how it's how the U.S. government defines the regions in the Business Insider. So these are the 10 governments. If you were to live in these areas, well, you'd be governed by a governor, a certain person. So that's really, really interesting. If there is a one world government, what happens to Antarctica? Well, I think that's a really good question. The 10 kingdoms, okay. So these regions right here, U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. So they already got their own regions. And this looks like it's for regions of, even your health care has certain regions, region 1, region 2, region 3, region whatever it is. So, okay, we also got a club of Rome. So we got all these types of regions. Okay, continuity of government. That's what we're looking for. You all, thank you for, do we got somebody who is not being polite, Susan, honey? Yeah. Because if they are, that's not very nice of them. It isn't. Yeah. You all better be polite, because if I see a disrespectful comment, I'm going to delete it, and I'm probably going to block you. I'm not joking either. I'm not. The U.S. Air Force sponsored research in deep underground construction as early as 1958. The RAND Corporation carried out the research and published proceedings from symposiums held on the subject of construction. Okay. Of construction. Okay, you all. There was something else that was written in here. Yeah, let's look at this. So these boring machines, they're huge, steel encased worms. Okay. And they dig a face. The digging face of the machine is a 95-ton, 28-foot, 6-inch diameter disc. And the bore is 300 feet long. So they did a boring machine developed at Los Alamos, you all. That's really interesting. Los Alamos. Yeah, just kind of rude. No, I don't like rude and disrespected. Yeah, that's not very nice at all. It really isn't, Susan, honey. So I wanted to see this. Got civil engineering. There was one thing in here. There's a space in here where they talk about the people who built the construction in there and what was happening. Okay, yeah. So this is, let's look at this shoe out right here, this one. Underground cities, underground diggers have their own society called the Moles, who find talk and tunnels spicier than most surface drillers. It's no secret that the governments had built their own secret underground railways and tunnels. China's leaders built secret rail tunnels under Beijing that would enable them to flee in a crisis. This is 2005, so you can imagine what's happening now. According to a Chinese civil servant, the tunnels linked the leaders' homes, government buildings, central banks, and army bases. That sounds like a well-thought-out plan, okay. Japan, dense and overcrowded, is giving serious thought to living underground, planning to build underground sewage plants, underground railroads, and cities. They were going to build in Alice City. Look at that. Underground stores, hotels, theaters, sports arenas, strolling spaces, trees, birds, fish, tanks, bridges, and waterfalls. 2,000 square miles underneath Tokyo, Japan. Okay, so that's really interesting. with a constant temperature of 55 to 60 degrees Fahrenheit, and a lot of energy used for heating and cooling could be saved underground. And people would be working all around the clock to do that. You all look at this. So this is where it really, they had another thing they could do. They could escape Earth and go to Mars. They were going to go to Mars. Okay, this alternative 2 was to locate Earth's population in a massive underground caverns, drawing fresh, cool air. There was a number 3. They were going to evacuate people to the moon. They were going to blast a hole in the moon and then build cities in there. That's what they were going to do. Build cities in there. You all, they look at this. My goodness, you all, look at this. They, the Atomic Energy Commission, Project Plowshare, developed peaceful uses of nuclear explosives. It has explored the use of nuclear blasts to build harbors, dams, highways, and stimulate all this kind of stuff. So Project Gas Buggy, 4,240 feet below ground in New Mexico, known as the San Juan Basin in 1967. A 26 kiloton device was exploded. So they've got that. They did one at, we got Project Rulison, a 40 kiloton shot, 8,400 feet below the surface near Rifle, Colorado. So they got this. So this other suggested build the bases on the moon, and they may already be in operation on Earth. With controlled nuclear blasts, it will be possible to excavate cavities beneath the lunar surface. A missile could be used to drill a hole 50 feet deep in the moon. Then a second blast would produce a cavity of about 45 feet in diameter. Then an igloo would be constructed over the hole and a plastic bag dropped down the cavity filled with air, and the work area and living areas would be constructed, you all. So they wanted to do that. So look at this. It may prove more efficient and practical to house future moon colonies in artificial or natural caves beneath the lunar surface than to attempt construction of exposed meteorite domes. Why would they want to have that? They're going to create quarters, spacious parks, lakes, wooded areas could all be constructed underground. How on earth could they do that, you all? How could they construct stuff like that underground? Well, how would they even get the materials there, you all? That does not make sense to me. It really doesn't. But that's what they want to do. But listen to this. This is really, they're talking about Groom Lake. They have reports of Groom Lake. Yeah, let's look at this. Groom Lake. Back on Earth, we have reports of equally suspicious parks. An ex-security officer who worked underground at Groom Lake area, Nevada, said he once saw a baseball diamond and an Olympic-sized swimming pool in one of the caverns a mile beneath the Nevada desert. What's going on in the deep underground tunnels below Mercury Base at the Nevada test site? After hearing the story, there goes my throat. Again, you all. Excuse me, when I talk about some things, my throat starts itching, certain topics. That is weird. It really is weird. After hearing the story of Bob Lazar, a construction worker called Billy Goodman. We are the construction workers. We put things together. We come forward and whatever. He said there's more than just tunnels down there. There's everything you can imagine down there. I know because we put it up. We did everything. Informants have mentioned underground tunnels and facilities in New Mexico at Dulce, Sunspot, Dato, Corona, Teos, Pueblo, Albuquerque in Arizona, and Santa Catalina Mountains in Colorado at Delta, Grand Mesa and Colorado Springs, and Colorado at Needles, Edwards Air Force Base, Tehachapi Mountains, Fort Irwin, Norton Air Force Base, Morongo Valley, Nevada, in Blue Diamond, Nellis Air Force Base, Groom Lake, Papoose Lake areas, Quartz Mountain, and Tonopah. Well, let's see. My husband was stationed at Nellis Air Force Base. It was like around 7 years. And he went to Tonopah quite often. He did. He was like gone every... One year I counted it with me and my children had to stay home. He was gone 9 months out of the whole entire year, but it was like every single week, TDY, TDY, TDY. Every single week in Nevada at going to Tonopah. And he said there was nothing out there. It was just boring and blah. So thank you all for coming in here. I just want to pick up some of this right here. So a possible underground installation at the Tehachapi Mountains in the late summer of '88. A young couple, Ray and Nancy, reported that they had gone to a plateau in the mountains after Ray's shift work had completed at the Northrop plant. Ray was an inspector on the B2 project. The plateau is adjacent to the perimeter of the leased Tejon Ranch, where Northrop has built a secret underground facility. It was about 1 o'clock in the morning when Ray and Nancy spotted a brilliant orb coming out of the ground, which flashed light in their direction. They could not account for 2.5 hours of missing time. Ray thought that they had the orb under observation for about an hour, yet the next memory is of the sunrise. Under hypnosis, Ray recalls being abducted and taken to an underground base populated by little gray EBs and Air Force and security personnel. The EBs were examining Nancy, who had been restrained on a metal table. Ray's emotions swelled under hypnotic recall of the incident. So the EBs, who are the EBs, you all? Let's look at the EBs. EBES. Let's see if they got an image of the EBs. No, they don't. No image of the EBs. EBs. EBE Gray's alien. Let's see if we got this. I want to see a picture of them. Okay, gray aliens, Zeta reticulans, EBs. I don't know if they would call them the EBs. I don't. So let's see. The sole survivor, EB the alien. The sole survivor, July 47, a product of the crash in New Mexico. So I guess they are EBs. You think they are? They are. Oh, extra. Oh, Marlena, honey, thank you. Extraterrestrial biological entities. I like that. Thank you. That's really interesting. Thank you. I like knowing what that means. Thank you. So let's look back at this, you all. So a local man claims he saw a flying saucer emerge and take off from a silo on the property. A disgruntled contractor reported that he worked on constructing the tunnels in the underground area and was bothered by the Air Force probes that were often seen hovering in the tunnels. He described the probes as small orbs and said that this facility was nicknamed the Ant Hill because of its resemblance to underground ant colonies. So the small probes, the probes were like small orbs. Now, I've seen the orbs in the sky, and you all have seen orbs in the sky, and they are kind of small, and they're different colors. But are they really probes? I was thinking maybe they were like a life form, but what if they are probes? Trying to see what's going on. Yeah. So the tunnels that look like the anthill are tunnels have round doorways without doors. Adjacent to the doorways are security panels with red and green lights. There are some kind of cylinders embedded in the doorway jambs that protect a field of energy of some sort. Do you all know what energy that would be? In between the doorways of the ant hill place, that's a facility, underground ant colonies. What would that be? Yeah. Yeah, you are. If you don't get a notification from me, my hands are tied. I can't do anything. It's the algorithms, the way that they send out notifications. And a lot of times it's based upon your browsing history and what you watch, I think, and whether or not they tell you that I'm live on a certain specific subject. If you haven't been watching a certain topic and I have a topic that is not that topic, I don't think they're going to alert you or something like that. It's really strange how the algorithms work. Black helicopters have been sighted around Boynton and Secret Canyon near Sedona, Arizona. Sedona, that's supposed to be a very spiritual area, to say the least, a very active area in Sedona. Yeah. Black helicopters have been sighted around Boynton and Secret Canyon near Sedona, Arizona. A man living in Long Canyon has cited a lot of strange things in the canyon areas, and residents suspect a secret government installation has been established in, of all places, Secret Mountain. I never heard of Secret Mountain. Have you all heard of Secret Mountain? Secret Mountain? Why didn't that bring that in? It didn't want to. I wanted to bring it in and it didn't want to pull it up. Okay, well, let's see images of Secret Mountain. The Red Rock Canyon? I didn't know Red Rock Canyon was called Secret Mountain. I loved hiking in Red Rock Canyon. I really did. It was my favorite place to hike, was Red Rock Canyon. But then there's like this Secret Mountain right there. Secret Mountain. Why is it a secret? I want to know why it's a secret. I really do. Best views of Red Rock Secret Mountain. That's really interesting. Let's get back to this, you all. So one of my investigators hiked to Secret Canyon late one night and was stopped by a voice on a loudspeaker and a laser targeting light on his chest. He was told that he had entered a restricted area and to turn around and leave. We have now spotted and photographed the small orbs around Ant Hill. These orbs definitely exhibit the peculiar characteristics of reported in other UFO sightings. You all, that is really interesting. Now, isn't that interesting? The orbs around Ant Hill. I wonder if we can, let me put this to me. Orbs around Ant Hill. Orbs around Ant Hill. No, it's just going to show a bunch of ants. Okay, you are. That's not a good search topic. Okay, so we've got this right here. And there are a lot of sightings of orbs. There really is. I wonder if the Phoenix Lights are these orbs. Wonder if they really are. That's kind of interesting. Since that time, we have located 2 other secret facilities. One is at a place in the Mojave Desert called Llano. It is an extremely secure facility, but witnesses have seen an extremely bright light burning atop a pylon inside of a movable behemoth-sized structure. A behemoth-sized structure. An extremely bright light burning on that, you all. This light does not illuminate the interior of the structure. That's strange. Orbs have been seen in the vicinity of this facility as well. Now, this is really, really interesting, you all. And if you're just tuning in, thank you so much for coming on here, because I've not really heard of half of this stuff before. I haven't, but it's so interesting with all that's going on in the world. It really is. We can only conjecture about what secret programs are being conducted away from the praying eyes. The underground can and does hold all sorts of secrets, and some of the most amazing revelations about what goes on in the underground projects comes from a mysterious informant named Thomas, who claims there is indeed a deep, dark secret harbored underneath the imposing mountainous elevations of northern New Mexico. You all, we got to go into northern New Mexico. Yes, northern New Mexico. This is really interesting. Makes me want to have a sneezing. I feel like I want to sneeze. Oh my gosh, you all, this is some wild stuff. Dulce. Okay, so Dulce is this is the base right here, you all. Right here to the left of me, or to the right side of me on here, Dulce. Dulce is a sleepy town in northern New Mexico of about 900 population, located 7,000 feet above the Jicarilla Apache Indian Reservation. There is only one major motel and a few stores. It is not a resort town, and it is not bustling with activity. According to few outsiders, Dulce harbors a deep, dark secret. The secret is harbored deep below the tangled bush of Archuleta Mesa. The secret is said to be a joint government alien biogenetic laboratory designed to carry out bizarre experiments on humans and animals. Now, certainly, there wouldn't be no joint alien thing going on in Archuleta Mesa. Certainly, that is not possible, you all. You know, that's no such thing as aliens and government cooperating together, doing bizarre experiments on humans. Surely they wouldn't do something like that. I don't think they would. Wrong. I think, oh my goodness, you all. Yeah, there's places like that. Yeah, there is. New Mexico State Police Officer Gabe Valdez was drawn into the mysterious Dulce when called to investigate a mutilated cow in a pasture 13 miles east. That I saw something of Dulce in the Manuel Gomez Ranch. Gomez had lost 4 cattle to mutilations between 76 and 78 when a team of investigators, which concluded Tom Adams, arrived from Paris, Texas, to examine the site of the carcasses. So let's see. You know, we saw the things about, we saw the little documentaries. That's what we saw. Images of them. I can't show it, you all. No. I do it really fast. It's like we gotta look really fast. Come on, push the button, and then I'm gonna take it off. Okay, I'm not even gonna have my face on the same page with it. Cattle mutilations right there. This is the alien stuff going on, you all. Okay, that's it. I can close it out, you all. We've seen it. It was really strange. Curious. Okay, we can go back to you all. Curious as to how the cattle were being selected by the mysterious mutilators, an interesting experiment was conducted on July the 5th of 1978 by Valdez, Gomez, and retired scientist Howard Burgess. They pinned up around 120 of the Gomez beef cattle and moved them through a squeeze chute under ultraviolet light. Ultraviolet light, you all. What do we know about ultraviolet light? Are those black lights ultraviolet lights that are going up everywhere? They found a glittery substance on the right side of the neck, the right ear, and the right leg. Samples of the affected hides were removed, as well as control samples from the same animals. Schofield Clinical Laboratories in Albuquerque analyzed the samples and found significant deposits of potassium and magnesium. The potassium content was 70 times above normal. Some investigators attribute the mutilation to aliens from UFOs. UFOs have been seen frequently around Dulce. Sightings of strange lights and other aerial phenomena have been reported in many areas where the cows have been found at the time of the reported mutilation. You know, I remember when I was younger seeing news reports on that and thinking, that's weird. It's so weird because they were so precise. On April the 19th of 1988, I arrived in Dulce to visit Gabe Valdez and inquire about the sightings, the mutes, and the rumors of an underground alien base. Snow was still on the ground. I checked into the Best Western Motel and called Valdez to make an appointment to see me at 9:30 p.m. I found Gabe to be a very congenial host, offering to show me around the roads of Dulce that night and point out various locations where he found mutilated cows or seen strange aerial lights. He made the astounding statement that he was still seeing unidentified aircraft at the rate of one every 2 nights. So you all, now we're in Dulce, New Mexico, and they're talking about the aliens and the UFOs and the cattle that has precision surgical marks on them. You all, this is like wild. We took a look at the Gomez Ranch, the road by the Navajo River, and the imposing Archuleta Mesa. Gabe found landing tracks and crawler marks near the site of the mutes, and was convinced that scientist Paul Benowitz of Thunder Scientific Labs in Albuquerque, whatever it is, was definitely on the right track in his attempts to locate underground alien facility in Dulce. An underground alien Dulce. Thank you, Marlena, honey. Trying to say it the right way. That's strange how I look down there and I see your name. This is really interesting. Yeah. So thank you. No one knew for sure where the facility was located or how the humans or aliens gained secret entry into that facility. I had first heard of Paul Benowitz in 1980 when my friend Walter called me from Albuquerque and told me he had been working with Paul on electronic instruments. Walter informed me that Paul had not only photographed UFOs, but had established a communication link with their underground base at Dulce. Benowitz had first came to prominence during August of 1980, with sightings over the Manzano weapons storage area at Kirtland Air Force Base. A Kirtland Air Force Base incident reported dated October the 28th of 1980 mentions that Benowitz had taken film of the UFOs over Kirtland. Paul, who was the president of the Thunder Scientific Labs, was adjacent to Kirtland, gave a briefing in Albuquerque detailing how he had seen the aliens on a video screen. And at the time, the aliens were transmitting signals to him from a base underneath Archuleta Mesa. Archuleta Mesa, you all. Yeah, can we let's do a Google Earth so we can see where Archuleta Mesa is, because I think that might be neat to see the Google Earth pull it up. Let's do this, you all, because this is going to be neat. Let's pull it up. I'm going to stop this right here. Let's see if we can get this. I think it's going to find it. Let's see where they're going to look at. That's where the aliens are. They're down there in Archuleta Mesa, and that's where he saw them, you all. What is that? This black area right here. It's a dirty lake. So Archuleta Mesa. Look, it's like a mountainous region also, but that doesn't look too mountainous. There's Dulce. Dulce right there. So we're talking about this area right here, and then the Archuleta Mesa. So let's zoom out if we can. We got some cloud cover over there right now. So we got national forests, National Recreation Center. So isn't that interesting how these certain areas are off limit? You know, it's like that around a lot of areas of the world, of the United States. A lot of things. We have these national forests, state forests, all of these areas that the government owns. But why? Is it because there's aliens under there? And it could be, you all. It really could be. Mesa. Yeah. So let's not get caught up in the pronunciation, you all, because there's much more to focus on than the pronunciation. And it could be the way I speak. So researcher William Moore claims that the government agents became interested in Benoit's activities and were trying to defuse him by pumping as much disinformation through him as he could absorb. Disinformation. Whether Paul's communication with supposed aliens at the Dulce base was part of this disinformation campaign is unclear. If we believe that Paul is the single source of reports at the Dulce facility, then discounting Paul's story and discrediting him could be a tactical maneuver. The actual disinformation maneuver would result in making the public believe that there was nothing to the story. In a report called Project Beta, Paul states that he had spent 2 years tracking the alien craft, that he had constant reception of video from an alien ship and underground base view screen, that he had established constant direct communications with aliens using a computer in the form of a hexadecimal code with graphics and printout, and claims to have used aerial and ground photography to locate the alien ship's launch ports charged beam weapons. Paul was claimed that the aliens were devious, employed deception, and did not adhere to agreements. He and Walter were working on a weapon that would counter the aliens. So I'm sure that he did have a means to locate where their launch ports were and where their charged beam weapons were, because if you really pour a lot of time into stuff, you can literally you can find things out, a lot of things, if you're willing to put forth the time and the energy to do it. You could. Hello there, Johnny honey. Yes, you are. You could. You really could. Have we crossed over from the land of the real world to the land of science fiction? The bizarre phenomenon may have its roots in a bizarre reality. As we continue our studies, the world of science fiction will become the world of science fact. Wow, the world of science factual. Paul Benoit had investigated the case of the abductee Myrna Hansen of New Mexico and reported having been taken to an underground facility in May of 1980. Krista Tilton of Oklahoma claims that she had an experience of missing time in July of 87 when she had been abducted by 2 small gray aliens and transported into their craft to a hillside location where she encountered a man dressed in a red military jumpsuit. She was taken into a tunnel through computerized checkpoints displaying security cameras, and she reports having been taken to a transit vehicle to another area where she stepped on a scale-like device facing a computer screen. After the computer issued her an identification card, she was told by her guide that they had just entered level 1 of a 7-level underground facility. Krista goes on relating how she was eventually taken down to level 5, where she reports having seen alien craft and a little gray alien entities in some of the areas that she passed through. You all, are you getting this? I did not know any of this, but I think that there are some people on here, some people who will hear this account, and they probably can relate to this because they too probably have been taken down to this very same facility, and they have similar instances, reports of this happening to them, experiences. You all, this is wild. It really is wild. In one large room where she was computerized, she saw computerized gauges hooked to a large tank and large arms that extended from some tubing down into tanks. She noticed a humming sound. A humming sound. Smelled formaldehyde and had the impression that a liquid was being stirred in the tanks. She was not shown the content of these tanks. Krista made drawings of much of what she claims to have witnessed during her abduction. Desiree, honey, Desiree, it is crazy. It is wild. But look at the world we live in. It can't be that crazy. It can't be that crazy because you look around and we got all the craziness going on. Y'all, this probably is reality. I think it is reality. I really do. These tanks were also depicted in a set of controversial papers called the Dulce Papers, which were allegedly stolen from the Dulce underground facility, along with over 30 black and white photos and a videotape. The mysterious security officer who took the papers claims to have worked at Dulce until 1979, when he decided that the time had come to part company with his employers. The rest of this chapter relates to the security officer met with a colleague of mine in order to tell the truth about the aliens, the U.S. government, and the Dulce base. His intention was to come out of hiding and present hard evidence to back his claims, you all. In late 1979, Thomas C. could no longer cope with the awesome reality he had to confront. As a high-level security officer at the joint alien U.S. government underground base near Dulce, he had learned of and had seen disturbing things. After much inner conflict, he decided to desert the facility and take various items with him. You all, we're going to hear about him because this sounds they saved the best for last. Yes, you all, thank you for coming on here. Using a small camera, he took over 30 photos of areas within the multi-level complex. He collected documents and removed a security videotape from the control center, which showed various security camera views of hallways, labs, aliens, and U.S. government personnel to take with him. Then, by shutting off the alarm and the camera system in one of over 100 exits to the surface. Oh my gosh, that's a lot of exits. 100 exits. He left the facility with the photos, the video, and the documents. The originals were hidden after 5 sets of copies were made. I'd be making 5 sets of copies too, you all. I really would. I'd make, and I would do something. I wouldn't want to lose, the information that I had gathered. I wouldn't. Thomas was ready to go into hiding, but when he went to pick up his wife and young son, he found a van and a government agents waiting. His wife and his child had been kidnapped. He had been betrayed by Kay Lomas, a fellow worker. The agents wanted what Thomas took from the facility in order to get his wife and son back. And when it became apparent to him that they would be used in biological experiments and were not going to be returned unharmed, he decided to get lost. That was over 10 years ago. So how did Thomas get involved in all this covert intrigue? Thomas now is in his 50s. In his mid-20s, when he received top secret training in photography at an underground facility in West Virginia. For 7 years, he worked in high security photography in the Air Force. In 1971, he left and went to work for Rand Corp in Santa Monica, California. In 1977, he was transferred to the Dulce facility. He bought a home in Santa Fe, New Mexico, and worked Monday through Friday. He commuted to work via a deep underground tube shuttle system. Now, I will say, when we lived in Fort Meade in Maryland, one of our neighbors, he was a high-level security photographer for the Air Force. He was. And I thought, that's a strange job. I did think that. But they have people like that, you all. At this time, a fellow researcher was working security in Santa Fe, New Mexico, and was privately investigating sightings, animal mutilations, Masonic and Wicca groups in the area. Thomas had a mutual friend who came to Santa Fe in 1979 to visit both the researcher and Thomas. This visitor later viewed the photos, the videotape, and the documents taken from the Dulce base. Drawings were made from what was seen and later circulated in the UFO research community as the Dulce Papers. Thomas alleges that there were over 18,000 short grays at the facility, and he saw reptilian humanoids. Reptilian humanoids, you all. That's what he saw. A colleague had come face to face with a 6-foot-tall reptoid which had materialized in his house. The reptoid showed an interest in research maps of New Mexico and Colorado, which were on the wall. The maps were full of colored pushpins and markers to indicate sites of animal mutilations, caverns, locations of UFO activity, repeated flight paths, abduction sites, ancient ruins, and suspected alien underground bases. No, I didn't know about any of this, you all. I'm just now finding this out. The multi-level facility at Dulce is reported to have a central hub which is controlled by base security. The security level goes up as one descends to lower levels. Thomas had an Ultra 7 clearance. He knew of 7 sub-levels, but there may have been more. Most of the aliens supposedly are on levels 5, 6, and 7, with alien housing on level 5. The only sign in English was over the tube shuttle station hallway, which read, "To Los Alamos." Connections go from Dulce to the Page, Arizona facility, then onto an underground base below Area 51 in Nevada. And if you've been to Area 51 in Nevada, not even military planes are allowed to fly over there. When my husband worked at Tonopah, there was no planes allowed during their maneuvers, their whatever games that they played, Red Force. No one flew over Area 51, you all. And my voice is as if it's off limits, totally off limits, is what it was. And this is funny now that you mention that, and now that they mention that, because they had Red Force every year. And my husband would have to go out to Tonopah, him and his friends, and do their jamming of the communications. Red Force involved different countries, and I know Russia was one of them. They flew around that area. That's really interesting. It really is. Tube shuttles go to and from Dulce to facilities below Teos, New Mexico, Datib, New Mexico, Colorado Springs, Colorado, Creede, Colorado, Sandia, then on to Carlsbad, New Mexico, then appears to be a vast network of tube shuttle connections under the U.S., which extends into a global system of tunnels and sub-cities. Wow, that's a lot. It is a lot, you all. So let's look at this, you all. We are almost done. I think we are. At the Dulce base, most signs on doors and hallways are in the alien symbol language and a universal symbol system understood by humans and aliens. Thomas stated that after the second level, everyone is weighed in the nude, then given a uniform. I don't think I'd like that. Visitors are given off-white uniforms, jumpsuits with a zipper, and the weight of the person is put on a computer ID card each day. Any change in weight is noted. If over 3 pounds, a physical exam and an x-ray is required. Scales are located in the front of all sensitive areas and are built into the floor near doorways and the door control panels. An individual places his computer ID card into the door slot, then enters a numerical code on the keypad, and the person's weight, where am I at? And the person's weight and code must match the card or the door will not open. Any discrepancy will summon security. No one is allowed to carry anything into the sensitive areas. All supplies are put on a conveyor belt and x-rayed. The same method is used in leaving sensitive areas. All elevators are controlled magnetically. There are no elevator cables. The magnetic system is inside the walls of the elevator shaft. There are no normal electrical controls. Everything is controlled by advanced magnetics, including the lighting. There are no regular light bulbs, and tunnels are illuminated by phosphorus units with broad structureless emission bands. Some deep tunnels use a form of phosphorus pentoxide to temporarily illuminate areas. The aliens won't go near these areas for reasons unknown. So let's read this again. There are no regular light bulbs, and the tunnels are illuminated by phosphorus units with broad structureless emission bands. Okay, it's the deep tunnels. Some deep tunnels use a form of phosphorus pentoxide to temporarily illuminate areas. The aliens won't go near these areas for some unknown reasons. Well, that's really it's really interesting. I apologize, you all. This seems long, but we got to find out about this. Level 1 contains the garage for street maintenance. Level 2 contains the garage for trains, shuttles, tunnel boring machines, and disc maintenance. The studies on Level 4 include human aura research, as well as all aspects of telepathy, hypnosis, and dreams. Wow. They're studying your human aura, telepathy, hypnosis, and dreams. Thomas says they know how to separate the bioplasmic body from the physical body to place an alien entity life force matrix within a human body. After removing the soul, the life force matrix of the human. Level 6 is privately called the Nightmare Hall. It holds the genetic labs, where experiments are done on fish, seals, birds, mice that are vastly altered from their original form. There are multi-armed and multi-legged humans and several cages and vats of humanoid bat-like creatures as tall as 7 feet. The aliens have taught the humans a lot about genetics, things both useful and dangerous, you all. We've got to listen to it. The gray and reptoid species are highly analytical and technologically oriented. They have had ancient conflicts with the Nordic humans from other space societies, and they may be staging here for a future conflict. Intensely into computing and bioengineering scientists, they are led to doing reckless experiments without regard for what we consider to be ethical and empathetic conduct toward other living creatures. Principal government organizations involved in mapping human genetics, the so-called genome products, are within the Department of Energy, which has a heavy presence on the Nevada test site. The National Institute of Health, the National Science Foundation, the Howard Hughes Medical Institute, and of course the Dulce Underground Labs, which are run by the Department of Energy. Thomas has revealed that the chief of the genetic experiments for Los Alamos and Dulce is Larry Davin. According to Thomas, the alien androgenal breeder is capable of parthenogenesis at Dulce. The common form of reproduction is polyembryony. What is this, you all? What on earth is parthenogenesis? We've got to see what that is. That's a big word. Let's find it. It is a natural form of asexual reproduction in which the growth and development of embryos occur without fertilization by sperm. In animals, parthenogenesis means development of an embryo from an unfertilized egg cell. In plants, parthenogenesis is a component process of apomixis. There, I tried to say it. Okay, so now we know what that means, you all. This is wild. Each embryo can and does divide into 6 to 9 individual cuni siblings. The needed nutrient, let's read this. The needed nutriment for the development cuni is supplied by the formula, which usually consists of plasma, deoxyhemoglobin, albumin, lysomine, cation, amniotic fluid, and more. The term genome is used to describe the totality of the chromosomes unique to a particular organism or any cell within an organism. As distinct from the genotype, which is the information contained within those chromosomes, the human genes are mapped to a specific chromosomal locations. This is the ambitious project that will take years and lots of computer power to accomplish. Well, this was back in this right here is back in 2005 is when this was written, I think. I think that's what I remember, you all. 2005. Is the alien and human biotech being used to nurture and serve us, or is it being used to control and dominate us? Why have the UFO abductees been used in genetic experiments? It was when Thomas encountered humans in cages on level 7 at the Dulce facility that things finally reached a climax for him. Row after row of thousands of humans. Human mixture remains and embryos of humanoids were kept in cold storage. He says, I frequently encountered humans in cages, usually dazed or drugged, but sometimes they cried and they begged for help. We were told that these were hopelessly insane and involved in high-risk drug tests to cure their insanity. We were told to never speak to them at all. At the beginning, we believed that story. Finally, in 1978, a small group of workers discovered the truth. That began the Dulce Wars. Thomas also says the aliens don't want the land, the gold, the minerals, or the water that we possess, nor even the human or animal life. What they do want is magnetic power that surges on and through the earth. The aliens harvest this magic power in a way unknown to us. Thomas says the aliens recognize this power as more valuable than any other commodity on our globe. It may be unpalatable to digest or believe Thomas's story. In fact, it seems like part of a living nightmare. There is evidence that something strange goes on at Dulce. Does Thomas have the answer? There may be a terrible truth hidden behind the continuing phenomena of UFO sightings, abductions, and animal mutilations. Our government intelligence agencies have had an ongoing watchful eye on all UFO activities for many decades now. This extraordinary phenomenon must have an extraordinary explanation. We may be the only one outpost in a vast interstellar empire. Oh my gosh. That was a lot to digest, you all. It really was a lot to take in. We're not done yet, you all. We are not done. I am so sorry it's taken so long. Recently, researcher John Anderson went to Dulce, New Mexico, to see if there was any truth to the reported UFO activity. He said as he arrived in a town, he saw a caravan of cars and a McDonnell Douglas mini lab in a van going up a rural road near the town. He followed them to a fenced-in compound where he waited to see further developments. Suddenly, 6 UFOs descended rapidly over the compound, hovered long enough for him to snap a picture, then shot up and out of sight. When later stopping at a store, he told the owner about the UFO photo that he had taken. The store owner listened and revealed how he had been a victim rancher of the cattle mutes. Their conversation was interrupted by a phone call. The store owner told John to leave at once. Then after John went to his car, he saw a mysterious van drive up to the store. A man got out and went inside. John, deciding to leave Dulce, was followed by 2 men in a car as he left the town. Even more recently, a research team has gone up to Archuleta Mesa to take soundings underground. Preliminary and tentative computer analysis of these soundings seem to indicate deep cavities underneath Mesa. How long will the secret of Dulce, known to the insiders as Section D, remain locked up inside the mute New Mexico mountains? Will it be forever? You all, my gosh. Oh, I'm gonna copy this, you all, and I'm gonna put this in the live stream right now because that is that is really a wild, oh my gosh, I've never heard anything like that, you all. Let me put it in there for you to see it. Was that wild? Oh my gosh. Only 17 likes. What's up with that? I'm seeing a chat rate of 16. I'm seeing a likes of a 283. Y'all give this video a thumbs up. I give it a like. Because this is wild. What went on? I just got an earful. I really did got an earful that I didn't know I was going to get. Reading about that. You know, I've heard things ever since this journey started back in 2018. But I never heard stuff like that. I didn't. Yeah, Christine Mott, honey, you so sweet. Yes, you are. Yes, that's right. Oh my gosh. J Moon, honey, you're so welcome. You are so welcome. This is I guess this would be something good to listen to while you fall asleep. Like a bedtime story. It really would be. Or a daytime reading. It sounds mysterious. But yet, we heard at the very beginning of the article, I reread this whole entire article, and it was written on December the 7th of 2005. And here's the title of it: is UFOs and aliens. And I think we read in here that we started off with the U.S. News and World Report, secret plan to carry on the government, and they're talking about the tunnels underground is what happened, and talking about subterranean things. Okay, but this is oh my gosh, I didn't know this stuff was like this is really what it is. It's real. It's not science fiction. It's not. None of it's science fiction, you all. I am going to go. This got me all hot, and I hope it wore me out. I do, so I can sleep really well. So I want to thank you all for listening. I really do. That's a lot. These underground facilities. See, that's just in the United States. See. What's happening in the other places of the world? Do they have aliens there too, you all? Do they have aliens? Do they work with the aliens too? They could. Underground. They probably do. Yeah. So, yeah, you all, thank you so much. Apple Brooks, honey, thank you. Susan B, honey. And if there's anybody else on here, thank you. Any other moderators, and thank you all for your time and listening to this, you all. Please keep an open mind, because this is some person's account of what they say happened. They wrote it. It's been documented. It's a documentation. So with that being said, hello wherever you are in any part of the world. Hello from my heart to yours. Love you. Have a wonderful rest of your day, you all. So yeah, if there was like a alien invasion, it sounds like it's going to come from underground. It really does. And that wouldn't be very pleasant. But that I wouldn't want to go underground. Okay, I wouldn't. I think I might want to stay above ground on a high mountain, maybe. Take me over to Mount Shasta or Mount Rainier or something like that. Get me up on the mountain top. Take me up in a ship and get out of this place. That's right, you all. I don't know if I said this yet because I got myself talking. I'm going to just say it again, you all. I'm going to say it again. Hello, wherever you are in any part of the world. Hello. From my heart to yours. Love you. Have a wonderful rest of your evening. Love you.